Shock me, shock me, shock me. Morning jolt of coffee not enough? A new brand promises to triple the kick and shock your socks off.
From the global resources of ABC News, with Terry Moran in Washington, Martin Bashir and Cynthia McFadden in New York City, this is Nightline, May 2nd, 2007.
If you're like many Americans, the day probably doesn't begin without a strong cup of coffee. Taken together, this country drinks tens of millions of cups every day. But with the increasing pace of modern living, the old-fashioned cup of joe may not be enough anymore. So what about pumping up the caffeine kick? Well, one company has decided to do just that. And for ABC's Ryan Owens, this is a sign of the times.
If you're up watching me, you already know sleep is overrated. But these days, it's not good enough to just be caffeinated. Now you have to be hyper-caffeinated, which is where all this stuff comes in. So watch this while I get shocked. The Shock Coffee Company warehouse seems to run on overdrive, and no wonder. It's full of everything from good old-fashioned drip coffee to shockappuccinos to Shock-a-Lots, these chocolate-covered espresso beans. Each bag will give you the jolt of 2 cups of coffee. The company ships these so-called hyper-caffeinated products to 8,000 convenience stores across the country. All promise at least 50% more caffeine than the normal cup of joe.
I'm addicted. And when it comes 3, 4 in the morning, I go straight to the coffee machine.
The man behind the buzz is Jeff Rosen, president of Shock Coffee. He says his products are safe, natural, and these days, necessary.
We select beans with a higher caffeine content. You know, some oranges are sweeter than others. Some coffee beans have more caffeine than others. A typical cup of coffee has 60 to 80 milligrams. We could sometimes be upwards of 180.
But come on, there's already a Starbucks on nearly every corner, a Red Bull in almost every fridge, and now they're even putting caffeine into alcoholic beverages. Most health studies have concluded all that caffeine probably isn't bad for us, but do we really need this shock therapy?
Everything has to get done yesterday, okay? You're a news reporter. You're probably up 24/7. We're all wired. We're just a very fast-paced society, and that's why we need Shock Coffee.
You're so laid back. How much shock do you have in your system right now?
Here we go with the laid back again.
Are you chock full all the time or what?
Yeah, let me show you. Let me have some chocolates here.
I hope you don't explode.
All right. I'll probably need a Xanax after this one. Holy cow. Holy cow.
Finally, he comes out of his shell, huh? His New York-based company is even selling truckloads of these drinks to soldiers serving in Iraq, where staying awake can mean staying alive. But for the rest of us, it may be the extra shock to the system we need just to keep up. This is Ryan Owens for Nightline. Okay, let's try that again. This is Ryan Owens for Nightline in New York.
A sign of the times. And when we come back,